Hi, I'm Fukurodani's number 5 on the volleyball club, Hiji Akashi, here to report all volleyball gossip.
It was a typical Friday night. Since they didn't have to worry about school the next day, Bokuto and Akashi were free to do any activities they wanted and likely sleep over at one of their houses. This time, the two decided to get ice cream at a small shop near Bokuto's house. Bokuto had gotten his usual rocky road while Akashi got a butterscotch-flavored ice cream. Huh? You're not getting the green minty one? But you always get that one. Akashi paid the kind employee and started to walk out the shop. I guess I wanted to try something different. It reminded me of you. Bokuto looked at the other with a surprised expression, but it later turned into a warm smile. He wrapped an arm around Akashi's shoulder and gave him a peck on the cheek. Or, how often do you think of me like that? A lot, actually. It was true, of course, but with those lovely thoughts come the thoughts of doubt. The thoughts Akashi has recently been having and trying hard to push away. Really? Well, I think about you a lot too. Like a lot. Actually, yesterday, I was gonna do homework, but then Kuro called me to hang out. But then I thought, no. Akashi always says that I need to put my education first. Once I get my homework done, then I can hang out with him. Akashi smiled, glad that Bokuto thought of him the same way he did. So you finished your homework? Yep, just not in time to hang out afterwards. Bokuto frowned, causing Akashi to chuckle. They neared a park, in which Bokuto dashed towards at top speed with Akashi in hand. They entered the playground and Bokuto directly jumped on the swings. Akashi, swing with me. Akashi sat on the swing, slowly rocking himself higher into the air until he was swinging by Bokuto's side. Like he always did, because he wanted nothing more than to stay by his side. Though after a few minutes, Bokuto jumped off his swing, almost tripping over himself, this leaving Akashi alone, with no Bokuto by his side, and wishing he was still there with him. Just like he feared. Akashi, jump. Akashi snapped out of his daze to notice that Bokuto had his arms open to signal that he wanted Akashi to jump off the swings and into his arms. That's not very safe. Don't worry, I'll catch you. But will you always be there to catch me? He wished he didn't think it, but he couldn't help it. After all, it wasn't an unlikely doubt with the year-age difference between them. It may not seem like much, but before you know it, it could mean everything. Before you know it, he's starting and finishing college before him and following a career path before him. He'll be starting a whole other life before him. Come on, Akashi, I'm still here. He pushed those thoughts aside, and decided to jump off the swing. He landed in Bokuto's arms, but the sudden weight and Bokuto's balance didn't mix well. This caused the two to fall backwards on the ground in a fit of laughter. Seeing Bokuto's beaming smile was always a sigh that Akashi could never get tired of, no matter how hard he tried. Akashi, you know what day it is tomorrow? He knew full well what day it was tomorrow. 1 year ago, Bokuto had confessed to him at their school garden. Tomorrow would be the day their love would be represented and continue to grow. That was if Akashi's doubting thoughts would leave him alone. Of course I do. Good, cause I have a fun day planned for us. But don't worry, nothing too over the top. I can't wait. Akashi tried his best to form a smile. Apparently it worked because Bokuto beamed and hugged him in return. We should head back now. They helped each other off the ground and wiped the dust off. Oh, okay. Do you want to sleep over at my house? I didn't bring clothes. You can borrow mine. It's fine. I have to be home anyway. Oh, okay. As much as he wanted nothing more than to spend the night with Bokuto, he really needed time alone with these thoughts. They later reached Akashi's house, still hand in hand. See you tomorrow, for the special day. Bokuto had an excited grin that always gave Akashi no choice but to smile in return. I can't wait. Bokuto leaned in and gave him a peck on the lips. I love you. I love you. The words rang in his head like the irritating sound of a slammed bell. But will you always be there to love me? He hated the thought, but he couldn't help but think of how it was true. I love you too. Akashi walked inside the house, allowing Bokuto to walk off to his house. Mom? The silence going around the house signaled she wasn't home. This leaving Akashi to stay in his room, alone with his thoughts. But instead of thoughts, his head began to fill itself with memories. Let's go. Fukurodani's team went for a jog. The team's captain was in a good mood, as usual, but their vice-captain felt a little stressed with his school work. He didn't mean for the stress to get to him, but it dragged him to the behind of the jogging team where it was lonely. But someone came back. What's wrong? Nothing. Don't lie, I can see right through you. Akashi laughed. You always manage. So what's wrong? It's really nothing. Just a little stressed with schoolwork. Anything that stresses you is a lot more than nothing, I guess. Don't worry though, school is over, it's a Friday, and now you're spending time with the most amazing person. You're right. But what about? No. Bokuto put a finger over his mouth. No buts. You're going to spend time with your boyfriend and not be stressed. Every stressful thought escaped his mind after the other's firm statement. Yeah. Okay, I will. The two jogged faster to find the team already back at the gym. Finally, the two loverbirds have arrived. Why? What happened? They're asking for us to see the principal. Akashi started walking with them, but Konoha stopped him. Only the third years. Oh. Bokuto held his hand and squeezed it tight before letting go. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. He said he would be back, but what would guarantee that? Would he always be back? Watch the team for me? Sure, it shouldn't be too bad since all the troublemakers are leaving. Huh? What are you trying to say? She's trying to say you make trouble. Huh? No, I don't. The two quarreling was the last thing he heard before the third years left, and quiet was among the few members of the team. He enjoyed the quiet most of the time, but without Bokuto, it felt more than just quiet. It felt empty. Akashi, what do you think? Akashi, Kaori, Yuki and an underrated girl were cramped in a room and busy at work with the preparations for the third year's graduation. Akashi had agreed to help because the females said they needed the taste of a male to make the graduation enjoyable for all, but the real reason he agreed to help was because Bokuto had agreed first. You alright? You've been spacing out a lot. Yuki was in charge of the food and drinks that would take place at the graduation, the easiest job, so most of the time, she only came to hang out and accompany her girlfriend. I'm fine, just wondering where Bokuto is. You're right, where is he? He's supposed to be picking out decorations, I'll call him. He left the room with his phone to his ear. Akashi, hey Bo, where are you? You're supposed to be at school for the graduation planning. I forgot that was today. Sorry Kashi, I can't make it. Kuro and I are studying for the final exams. They're rough. They're not that bad. Kuro mumbled, but clearly not quiet enough for it not to be heard. Yes it is. Look at this math equation. What does that even mean? It's not an equation, it's a formula. And that's not math, it's physics. Both Akashi and Kuro burst out laughing at Bokuto's poor educational mistake. I can't even tell what's what. Math is science, science is math. What has this world come to? Math and science are two very different things. You shouldn't say things like that in front of Kuro-san. He'll give you an hour speech on the differences of math and science. That's not true. Then he'll somehow get to how chemistry is the best subject on earth. Both Akashi and Bokuto laughed together when getting back at Kuro. Okay, let's just drop it. Fine. Bokuto, if you want, I can come over when I'm done to help you with that math equation, physics formula. Please do. You're better at explaining this stuff than this rooster is. Huh? Akashi laughed as Kuro started yelling. Alright, I'll be over soon. Love you? Kuro yelling was the last thing he heard before the call ended. Love you too, he said to the ended call screen, not being able to respond to Bokuto himself. He sighed and walked back inside. What did he say? He's busy with studies so he can't make it. Alright, Yuki will do his part today. Yuki will do what now? Come on, it's not that bad. Kaori sat down next to her and held her hand, causing Yuki to give in and take Bokuto's remaining work. Akashi went back to work, taking a few glances at Kaori and Yuki. They were both the same age and spent every moment together. In class, school activities, and outside of school, Bokuto and Akashi spent as much time as they can together, but between their year-age difference it was difficult to be with each other all the time like they wanted. If the two girls noticed him glancing, he hoped they wouldn't think he thought badly of them. He only wanted what they had. Ko, get down here please. Bokuto and Akashi were having a movie night in Bokuto's room until Bokuto's mom yelled for her son.
Coming, mom. I'll stay. Okay, I'll be back.
Bokuto gave him a peck on the cheek before getting out of the hold of the blanket that was around them and walked out the room. Akashi now felt awkward with the silence and with nothing to do. He paused the movie and decided to clean Bokuto's messy room. He cleaned up the popcorn pieces that were accidentally thrown on the floor, organized the pile of athletic shoes purposely thrown on the floor, tidied Bokuto's homework desk to look more presentable, and fixed the bed pillows to a more comfortable position. After he finished his mini room cleanup, he realized Bokuto had been gone longer than he expected. The curiosity of what took him so long caused him to walk downstairs to check on him. Keiji.
Hey Kashi, sorry I was taking so long. We're talking about what university I'm going to.
He didn't know what it was, but his heart ached at those words. Didn't you say you were only taking 1 year of college before joining a league?
I was, but someone isn't letting.
I'm sorry Ko, but you need to put your education first.
I'm all for you joining a league, but you still need to go to college, and that's that.
But how can I concentrate on volleyball with more school? You managed to get past high school.
You'll do just fine.
College was coming soon, Akashi realized. Sooner for Bokuto than Akashi, but that's what worries him. He'll be starting college and a volleyball league before him, leaving Akashi alone for a year. Once Akashi starts college, he'll be going down the path of the art of designing and editing, an entirely different path from his lover.
What will keep them together then?
Akashi woke up, realizing he had fallen asleep.
He lifted a hand to his cheek and realized it was wet. His eyes were red and puffy when he looked in the mirror. It was quite obvious to anyone that he had been crying. He tried his best to fix himself up before walking downstairs to his mother, but instead of seeing his mother cooking breakfast, it was his lover.
Bokuto-san?
What are you doing here?
Bokuto turned around to greet Akashi with a smile.
It's our special day, right? Our anniversary. Of course. You said you had something planned. I do, and it starts with a pancake breakfast.
Bokuto flipped a pancake onto a stack of about 20 other pancakes.
That's a lot. Yep, and we're going to eat all of them. You are going to eat all of them. You're not gonna help me? I'll eat 3, being the most. Your loss.
Bokuto served Akashi a plate of delicious-looking eggs, bacon, and 3 pancakes like he said. He then served himself the same, except he has the whole stack of pancakes minus the 3 he has served Akashi. Akashi ate calmly and slowly while Bokuto ate with enthusiasm and in top speed.
HMFPFNFEHT?
Akashi giggled at Bokuto's huge cheek, stuffed with pancakes. In seeing the other laugh, Bokuto smiled.
I said, do you like it? Yes, it's delicious actually. Good. Other than that small moment, the breakfast was quiet and even a bit awkward. Something that didn't normally happen with them. Done? How did you finish all that so fast? I'm still not done with my plate. They both looked down and laughed at his plate that still left a few pieces of eggs and 1.5 pancakes. Hurry up, we gotta go soon.
Akashi quickly finished his breakfast and walked back to his room to change. He kept in mind of his lover downstairs that was eager and excited to spend that day with him. Akashi wanted nothing more than to spend time with the other as well, but he felt uncertain.
His thoughts were telling him to get away, but every bone in his body told him to get closer. He tried to push the thoughts away, but they were stronger and more persistent than ever.
He just decided to walk downstairs after changing. Ready? No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Bokuto swung his arm through Akashi's and started walking out of the house.
You look beautiful as always.
He ran his hand through Akashi's hair and rested his hand on his cheek. Normally, Akashi would have loved the feeling of the other's touch, but with his doubt and uncertainty, he raised a hand to pull Bokuto's hand down softly.
The other looked confused but didn't think much of it. All he did was kiss his forehead and say, "You do know you're beautiful, right? How can I not? You constantly remind me. It's because you are, so don't ever forget it."
They first stopped at Akashi's favorite bookstore, Junkudo, and explored. Bokuto was looking at the fun animal pens while Akashi had his eyes on an artistic book for designers.
But he realized he forgot his wallet.
He sighed internally and managed to pull his eyes away from the book.
Don't you want that one?
Yeah, but I didn't bring money with me.
I did though. I'll buy it for you. No, it's fine. I'll just get it another time.
Nope.
I'm getting it for you.
Akashi sighed, realizing he won't be able to convince him otherwise, so he just joined him in the line of purchases.
Afterwards, They went to an amusement park for entertainment and small snack and drinks.
Bokuto insisted on attending the most insane roller coaster, despite Akashi pleading him not to. It later led to Akashi feeling dizzy and leaning on the other for desperate support. Akashi, do you not like roller coasters?
How could you tell?
Bokuto laughed before setting him down on a table that was propped open for a food truck. After Akashi started feeling better, they decided it would be best to attend the calmest ride of the amusement park, the Ferris wheel. At the top of the Ferris wheel, Akashi's eyes got attracted to the setting sun.
You could never compare to the sunset,
Bokuto said as he held his hand. Negative thoughts burned into his mind, but his statement still didn't fail to make his face burn as well. How can you say that so casually?
'Cause it's true.
After the Ferris wheel, they left the amusement park and moved on to the next event. They continued to walk until Akashi realized that the direction they were walking was very familiar. Bokuto-san, this is the way to school.
I know. It's Saturday. I know. It's 8 p.m. I know.
Bokuto-san, why are we at school?
You'll see.
Knowing Bokuto, who was trying hard to contain his excitement, Akashi decided it would be best to wait for the surprise that he planned at their school on a day and time in which school took no place. They walked for a while longer before Bokuto walked behind him and covered Akashi's eyes with his hands. Wa?
Sorry, but you need to close your eyes for this next part.
Akashi nodded and allowed Bokuto to guide him in the direction he saw fit, or the way he genuinely saw with his own eyes.
He trusted the one guiding him without a doubt, but in a way, he wished he didn't. It would make things a lot easier. Are you ready? Yes. After his statement of agreement, the hands were removed from his eyes. It took him a second to adjust to the fact that he had vision again. He then had to adjust to the beautiful vision in front of him.
The beautiful vision of Fukurodani's flower garden. Akashi had that memory burned into his head because it had been the place that Bokuto confessed his love to him.
1 year ago on this very day. What do you think? He loved it, but he wished he didn't.
I
love it.
Speechless? Yeah.
Good.
Stay right there. Bokuto reached for a blue bellflower and placed it in Akashi's hair.
He smiled at him before planting a deep kiss on his lips. Akashi, I have something to tell you. Fear started to grow inside him. I can't describe how amazing it has been to be with you. From when I first met you to this very day,
every second with you has brought me pure happiness. Because of you, I know what true love feels like. Bokuto knelt down on one knee. Without you, nothing would be the same. Without you, I would not be where I am today. Without you, I would not know what true love is.
Without you, my world would not be complete. I need you, forever. He held his hand and pulled out a box. I want to have this same love with you forever.
Today, tomorrow, and the following tomorrows that continue.
He pulled open the box to show a ring.
Will you promise me that you'll love me and let me give you the same love forever?
Will you promise me that you'll be a part of my world forever? Will you promise me that our love will last forever?
Tears threatened to fall down his eyes as he stared at Bokuto's pleading eyes.
He wanted to grab the ring and kiss him and promise to never leave him. He wanted nothing more than to love him. But every negative thought intensified to this moment. Every doubt he's had multiplied at this moment. Everything he wished would go away was the reason behind his next words that he wished he could take back. I can't. Bokuto paused, processing the words. What? Akashi inhaled deeply, trying to keep in tears. I can't, Bokuto-san. We won't. You're going to. It's not. He couldn't find the right words for this terrible mistake. I can't, and I'm sorry for it. He helped him off his knees and realized the tears in Bokuto's eyes. But why? Please tell me, Akashi. Whatever it is, we can fix it. I'll fix it for you. It's nothing anyone can fix. Bokuto held his hand and looked at him with eyes that wanted nothing more than for him to stay. But Akashi looked away and gently pulled their hands apart. I'm sorry. He felt the best thing to do was to walk away from the situation before he would break down. He continued to walk, trying to convince himself that leaving was for the best. But the tears streaming down his cheeks didn't agree with him. He didn't realize it, but he started running and crying until he finally reached his house. He didn't check if his mom was home, headed straight for his room with the previous events still playing out in his head like a curse. He tried over and over to convince himself it was all for the best. That's all he did. From high school, to college, to his career. He managed to get this far, thinking it was all for the best. Until the day he decided to attend the game of MSBY Black Jackals vs Schweidenadlers. KG Akashi, why did you leave me in high school?
ボクトさん